Hey, good afternoon. If you've hung around me long enough, you'll eventually hear me mention the poet Rumi, a 12th century cleric who was famous for writing prolific prose and being very connected and in tune with the universe, seeing the creativity and the joy in all things. And recently I was reminded of part of the mythology of Rumi, of being able to hear creative, beautiful things amongst the chaos. Part of his story and the myth behind him is the image of him going into the goldsmithing section of the city that he lived in, where the smiths were hammering gold out into the things that they were creating. A very chaotic scene with all different types of shops and booths and fire and hammers hitting gold and hammers hitting metal as this process was being created, where gold was being smelted and molded and sold. And in that chaos, what sounded like a busy, crazy, chaotic market, a goldsmith, Rumi was able to hear music in the hammer strokes. And that has me thinking about how we experience this creative process. Are you hearing the magic, the creativity in the day-to-day hammering of your life? Thinking about gold, one of the more valuable substances that we give value to, the thousands, the hundreds of dollars and thousands of dollars that we give value to just even a few ounces of gold, is something that is molded itself. We don't use gold as it comes out of the ground. It has to be melted and then hammered out into the rings, jewelry, however it's used. Gold isn't used in its original form. And it takes thousands of hammer strokes to be able to mold it into the valuable things that we're willing to pay for it. That's important because the creativity comes from the hammer strokes. And what might sound like a violent thing, something that might sound noisy and chaotic and not feel good, or might be really hard work, ends up being the creative process. And being able to hear music in those hammer strokes is a very creative perspective. Are you willing to look at your life as this creative process, as a crazy, chaotic, smoky, heat-filled marketplace where the creative things are being built on a day-to-day basis? Are you willing to invest the thousands of hammer strokes to take raw gold and mold it into what your life is? What might that look like for you in terms of accepting that this creative process, the beauty of creating something valuable and beautiful, takes 10,000 hammer strokes, and that you're willing to invest the time and energy into your life to create it, to do the hard work, to listen for the music in the chaos, the music in the sound and the noise, to see that something beautiful is being creative, to have the vision of what you want to create and what you want it to look like when you get there, and then the willingness to invest the time and effort to take the raw materials to build something more valuable. This is what your life is like, whether that's personally, professionally, with your family in terms of raising your children, in terms of developing your staff into something else, your team, your business. That creative thing, that creative process looks chaotic. It sounds chaotic. It can be very disruptive and dissonance sounding. But it can also be a very creative musical thing if you're willing to change your perspective. What will it take to look for the beauty in this chaos, in finding the creativity in the hammer strokes? And how will you figure out how to plug that image into your daily life as you're going through the drudgery of those thousands of hammer strokes to create your life? Take some time to think about that this week. I would be happy to continue that conversation with you in terms of finding what that looks like for you and creating that image so that you can hold on to it. Please feel free to comment below, ask any questions. Please reach out for a free consultation in terms of what coaching might look like for creating that vision. I'm John Rhoads. I hope that you're able to find purpose and meaning in your daily life.